Austin. We're going to install the Rekluse EXP clutch in a hydraulic motorcycle. What we're going to do to get the brake pedal out of our way on the KTMs, you can push down on the caliper and depress the brake pedal and then slip a screwdriver in on the stop, and that'll keep this brake pedal out of our way when we remove this clutch cover. Take off the cover itself. And now we're going to remove the pressure plate bolts and springs out of the stock pressure plate. Now that we got the pressure plate bolts loose, we're going to go ahead and remove the bolts and the springs and the pressure plate. Now we're going to remove the clutch pack just to make sure that we get the correct number of steel drive plates and friction plates back in it. So now at this point, some motorcycles at the very bottom of the center clutch will have a clutch boss spring that will fit inside a special friction plate. If that is in your motorcycle, you want to reinstall that. I got my drive plate sack that I'm going to reinstall. Just like OEM, we're going to start with the friction plate. Pointing out once again, if you have a clutch boss spring at this point, that will be the first plate in. Reinstall it if you have it. Now the Rekluse EXP comes with the medium setting in the box. It is reversible. There's not a top, there's not a bottom. So we're just going to go ahead and install it, and we want to make sure that it's being installed on a steel drive plate surface and not on a friction pad, as it is a friction itself. Now we're going to reinstall the stock pressure plate. Then we're going to reinstall using the stock pressure plate bolts, but we're going to install the Rekluse EXP pressure plate springs, which are heavier duty. We're going to install on this model a thicker gasket to give us clearance for the clutch pack. Not all motorcycles require the thicker gasket. If you use our Rekluse thick gasket, you're going to want to also use the OEM O-ring that's in the stock clutch cover. So we have the O-ring and the clutch gasket.
Now we will be replacing the OEM slave cylinder and making our install gap adjustment. Unscrew the bolt holding the chain guide in place. Remove dust cap from banjo bleeder bolt. Gloves are recommended for this part of the install, as well as safety glasses. Remove the banjo bleeder bolt. Remove the 2 OEM crush washers and discard. Remove the remaining slave cylinder bolts. Ensure that the OEM gasket remains in place. Remove the OEM case O-ring from the OEM slave cylinder. This will be reinstalled with the Rekluse adjustable slave cylinder. Now we must prepare the Rekluse adjustable slave cylinder for bleeding. Use a 4mm Allen wrench to make the top O-ring visible on the adjuster screw. Pour clutch fluid into the slave cylinder port. Note that you need to use proper clutch fluid based on the specific model bike you have. Check the cap of the clutch master cylinder to determine the correct type. Turn the adjuster screw clockwise until it bottoms out, while assuring that fluid stays topped off. Now turn the adjuster screw back to the initial position with the top O-ring visible. Compress the piston until it bottoms out while looking for air bubbles. If air bubbles can be seen escaping, please repeat the process. Reattach the banjo bolt using the 2 supplied crush washers from Rekluse. Ensure that the banjo fitting is sandwiched between the crush washers, as shown. Reinstall the OEM case O-ring. You also need to make sure that the ball bearing has remained in place with the Rekluse slave cylinder. This is something that was installed by Rekluse. Install the adjustable slave cylinder with the OEM bolts. Attach the rubber bleed tube to the bleeder fitting on the banjo bolt. Loop the overflow tube up and into a suitable catch bottle. Remove the cap and bladder from the OEM clutch master cylinder. Rotate the clutch purge so that the master cylinder reservoir is level with the ground. Top off the reservoir with proper clutch fluid. Pump the clutch lever 3 to 5 times and hold it in. While still holding the clutch lever in, use an 8mm wrench to open the bleed port. Air and fluid should come out of the bleed tube. Tighten the bleed port back down. Make sure that the clutch fluid has remained in the reservoir and repeat this process until no air comes out of the bleed tube. Ensure that the clutch lever feels and functions properly. We want the reservoir to be about 75% full, then we can reinstall the reservoir cap. Remove the overflow tube and bottle. Reattach the dust cap. At this point of the install, we are ready to set the install gap. Using a 4mm Allen wrench with the long end inserted, turn the adjuster screw until it stops under moderate pressure. You are trying to feel for the point at which the throwout will start to lift the pressure plate. This is known as a starting point. Once you have consistently found the starting point, turn the adjuster clockwise 1 full turn plus 5 tick marks. Let the bike warm up for about 2 to 3 minutes. Now we need to check for free play gain. Wrap the supplied rubber band around the bars and lever as shown. With the bike warmed up and running in neutral, blip the throttle to at least 5,000 RPM. The lever should only move in about 1/8 of an inch. As you can see, we have way too much free play gain. To get your lever movement down to 1/8 of an inch, we need to simply turn the adjustment screw clockwise to further lift the pressure plate. This forms a larger install gap and therefore less free play gain. It's still a tad too much, so we need to continue tightening the adjustment screw. There we go. Perfect. On the flip side, if you don't have any free play gain, you must turn your adjustment screw counterclockwise, which lowers the install gap and increases your free play gain. With the bike in neutral and your hand off the clutch lever, rev the motor 20 times to at least 5,000 RPMs. Be sure to let the engine return to idle between revs. This procedure breaks in the EXP unit. Now while the engine is still running, pull in the clutch lever and click the transmission into first gear. Slowly release the lever. The bike should stay in place, maybe even with slight creeping. If stalling occurs, click the bike back into neutral and recheck free play gain. At 1/8 inch, stalling should not occur. Once the bike is idling in first gear, slowly roll on the throttle without touching the clutch lever. Accelerate to about 5,000 RPMs and come to a stop. Repeat this 20 times. Next, we will do the same thing, only now you should start off in second gear and repeat 10 times. Now we must recheck our free play gain. If you still have 1/8 inch of lever movement, you are good to go. If not, make the appropriate adjustments to either raise or lower the pressure plate.